you. And they walked by about 20 minutes ago, and I was introduced by him. I said, wait, you got to stay here for the show. Willie and Emmanuel, they're from Glory FM in Uganda. That would be in Africa for you guys that need to go back to school and study your geography. I'm going to stand up so I can see you because you guys have such beautiful smiling faces. Welcome. First of all, welcome to Dallas. Welcome to Texas.
Thank you.
Great to have you here.
Thank you very much.
Okay, tell me about Glory FM.
The radio station in Uganda, and we started it purposely to reach out to our community for Christ.
For Christ.
Because for us, we love preaching Jesus. We were preaching Jesus door to door, then God gave us this. And we are reaching out to 5 million people now.
Okay, so you got 5 million people that you currently broadcast out to and reach. Now let me tell you something. There's a lot to be said by that. You can impact a lot of people's lives, right?
That's right.
Okay, tell me the current state in Uganda.
Equipments we are using to reach out, but we thank God that they are serving the purpose to reach these people. In Uganda, differently from here, most of people have the internet. They can get information from internet. They can get information from the TV. But in Uganda, in rural areas, all people, they are on radios because they don't access information anywhere. So that gets all people to be on the radio.
That's it. Nothing else here. Let's get back to your company. When you founded this company, what? I mean, did you really want to? It was important for you to have a way to give back to communities somehow. And you've got several charities. Of course, today we're focusing on parental care ministries. But you guys have spent some time with us as we are here until 6 o'clock raising money for parental care ministries. And there are a trip to Uganda coming up in November 17th to the 27th. I'll be going over there with a couple of the station members, Ali as well at the end of the show, going over there to help Glory FM and many other people down there in Uganda. Joining me now, Lisa Campanella. She is with Parental Care Ministries. And first of all, I want to thank you that day that you brought those Ugandans, people from Glory FM, to the station, because if it was not for that, I wouldn't be sitting here today and I wouldn't be having this amazing trip planned coming up in November.
Brian, it was great to come in. That was a total God thing for us to do. I thought we were coming for
Let me ask you a question. I always hear that when you get off the bus, when you get to Uganda, you got this huge welcome, right? Did you witness all of that?
You just can't imagine.
Really?
You can get all of this.
Okay, this is Lynn. And Lynn, what is your job here at 94.9 KLTY in Salem, Dallas?
I direct people to where they need to go once they get through the doors. Whoever it is that they're visiting with. I answer questions about our advertisers and, try to give them as much information about them as I can. I guess I can't think of anything else now.
So you're the director of First Impressions.
I guess you could call me that.
So what does that mean?
Well, it means I'm the first face they see when they walk through the door. I'm the first impression that they get of our radio station.
Do you also answer calls?
Oh yes, lots of calls, doorbells, because people basically don't get into the building until I let them in. So I have to judge whether or not they're safe to let them in, because I've got to watch out for my people back in the back.
Do you realize how important your job is to the overall
Mostly,
company?
yes, I do. I don't want to be, I want to be humble about it, I guess you'd put it. But yeah, I do.
Hello, Facebook people. Hello, Facebook Live. It is Gordon here in the 660 AM The Answer newsroom where it's 3:27 on a Thursday afternoon. The sun is shining brightly. The temperatures are, what more could you ask for? We're in the upper 80s. In fact, this next week, we move into the Labor Day weekend holiday. It's going to be in the low 90s. And then by the middle of next week, we've got temperatures that are going to be in the lower 80s. In fact, some spots are going to have lows in the lower 60s, upper 50s to lower 60s. We'll take that. So the weather is going to be great and grand and lovely for the Labor Day holiday weekend. We've got news coming up at the bottom of the hour in about 2 minutes from now. Here's what we're going to be covering here on Facebook Live, on this Facebook Live. President Trump's Homeland Security Advisor weighs in on the disaster that is Hurricane Harvey and the remnants of Harvey. We'll talk about that in a moment. And the numbers from the corner of Wall and Broad today. Wall Street numbers coming up in just a moment. Some good news for the Dow. That's all coming up here on the Thursday afternoon news on 660 AM The Answer. And my friends here on Facebook Live, thanks for tuning in. News in a moment. Yes.
Where's the best place that you find and get your news?
Well, I'd say about 70% of it is here on 24/7 news source.
Okay.
You know, I like to go there. It's they're pretty good with bulletins too, and you know, right there, it's there. Another site that I like to go to, Fox News. We partner with them, so we have news at the top of every hour. It's a 60-second news block, and it's national news. And then what I do is I add the local news component. So with that, I get my local news from 24/7 news source.
Perfect.
But Fox News would be the national partner, because there's so many places, there's so many areas today where, unfortunately, the news is extremely slanted. It is not fair and balanced. It's slanted, and it presents a really a negative overtone, worldview, and some of it, frankly, is just not. It's just not accurate.
Yeah. And
I think Fox gets about as close as anybody with that.
And you do your best just to tell the news, not have an opinion.
Now, yeah, you're right. I mean, I don't editorialize. I'm tempted to. It's very hard to kind of, with the events of our world today, locally, regionally, with what we've just been through. It's very hard sometimes to keep it in check. But I suppose if I'm on Facebook, maybe I'm a little more animated. But even there, I just find it a waste of time to argue with people on social media. It really is. Yeah. It's all about doing. It's if you're going to be engaged in debate, it's always good face to face or in the open. You know, and in this case, right now, if you're going to be the hands and feet, do that. If you're going to help, be the solution, be the difference maker. And you can't really do that on social media so much. There are things you can do, but I think I always like eyeball to eyeball and personal interaction. I don't argue much on Facebook or Twitter or any other site.
So I'm going to Africa. You're going to go with me now via video.
Well, good. Very, very good.
You had mentioned a site you might recommend for people in Africa, if you remember. Do you remember the site that starts with a B? BBC or something? Or
oh my goodness.
Was it BBC News or something like that?
Well, BBC is good.
Okay.
It's very good. BBC World is good. I would say Fox News as well, because Fox News International.
Okay.
They've got some good links as well.
Okay, to close it out, give me your Gordon Griffin. You have like this Gordon Griffin thing when you like close out. Give me one of those.
Okay. Let me do this here. By the way, this is not on the air right now.
Yes.
So the trouble is not with your. Okay, here we go. Let's see. Now I can't think. See, this is what happens. They pay us to do this. Okay. Currently, it's mostly sunny and 87, and now you know what's going on. I'm Gordon Griffin on 660 AM The Answer. Of course, I'm not. Well, I was kind of looking at. Did I look at the camera?
You did.
I did. Eye contact. Okay, very good.
Thanks, Gordon.
Very good.
Here with John Hudson, who does our morning show, as well as a lot of our promos and promo sweepers and station identifiers. and station IDs. And a couple of questions asked that I recall of him were, what's the best way to do station promos and station IDs?
Sure. That's a tricky question. Remember, when you're doing the imaging, that's what we call it, is our imaging, you are the brand of your radio station. Your values, the core message that you want to get across every time you open a microphone, and what you're trying to say in your promo or your sweeper or whatever you're producing, you are the brand. Now you take the logistics of radio where you don't want to be too long and you don't want to be too short. How do you tell that story in your sweeper, your promo, effectively that's going to grab the attention of your listener? Remember, you're always competing against other radio stations. So you want to, their song is over or their programming is over for a bit because you're going to a commercial or whatever. So you want to pull them in and keep them with that imager. So if you want to take a look here, I use Pro Tools. It's a system that I like. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 different tracks. And as you can see, many different pieces. What I personally do in the production of it, I make 4 mono tracks at the top. And those are always going to be my voiceover, no matter what. I've got a template saved. Then I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 stereo tracks. That's always going to be my effects, my sound effects, my music, crowd noise, and here I'll show you this. Here's a piece. I'll solo this out real quick. This is a music piece. And so I looped it, and so it'll keep playing as a loop. And if you recognize this, maybe you don't, this is a song from Justin Bieber. What our research has showed us, we're a Christian station. We don't play Justin Bieber's music. But what our research has showed us is our listeners are also pop listeners and top 40 listeners. So although they love the encouraging songs in the Christian format, they love Justin Bieber as well. Well, I don't have Justin singing, but I have his music looped here. And so here's a piece where we're about to go into commercials. The last song just played, and then you'll hear
94.9 KLTY. What's buzzing? Where's the fun? Who needs some inspiration right now? You do. So get connected with us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and online. It's your life inspired at 94.9 KLTY.
So this was a very deliberate piece to point our listeners to our social media pages. We've got about 15 of these pieces that will rotate constantly. And so this particular one, I think there's 4 of the social media pieces, they'll rotate to draw people to Facebook and Twitter. And so our mantra here at this radio station is your life inspired. We want to inspire people.
It's your life inspired.
And so if you look right here at this one track, it's just a normal voice track right here.
It's your life inspired.
I copied it and got a little bit of out of sync, and here's the way it sounds.
It's your life inspired.
It kind of gives it that double tap sound.
What's buzzing? Where's the fun? Who needs some inspiration right now?
And so let me show you this right here.
Who needs some inspiration right now?
I've made that voice sound a little hollow like a telephone, and I've paired it with a normal voiceover.
Who needs some inspiration right now?
So I have the normal EQ'd voiceover, and it will fade out. Let me show you my volume envelope. See how I've got the volume coming down? Well, this one's reversed. Now I've got the volume coming up.
Who needs some inspiration right now?
So it transitions into each other. And you can do a lot of stuff like that and not even have to use effects, because you can really kind of make the voice effect. So know your message. What are you trying to say in this particular piece? Because they're all different, okay? This is short. We wanted it 10 seconds, 15 seconds or below. So know your piece. What do you want to say? How would you effectively say that if you're sitting next to someone in the car and you want to tell them that message? That's conversational. That will grab their attention and make it fun. So we put the Justin Bieber music to make it fun. That's just one element of one sweeper that we do. The more ideas you can think and create and paint, the more different your station will stand out among the rest. As far as the imaging goes, if you look at our clock in 1 hour, and it's the same every hour, we've got 8 different types of imagers we can use, 8. And in those 8, there's 20 to 30 that rotate. So there's hundreds of imagers that rotate. And it takes a long time to build up your database. But once you build it up, once they get tired, you can take them out and make new ones. And then 3 months down the road, you can put them back in because you have brand new listeners. When you think about it, people don't listen every moment of the day. They just don't. They may listen to you for 5 minutes or 20 minutes, and then you have brand new listeners after that who haven't heard what you did 30 minutes ago. See, we think they listen all the time, and they don't. So if you can just keep it fresh with that same brand and that same message, you'll reach an audience bigger and bigger and bigger. I hope that helps. See ya.
This is I'm not real crazy about this music, but it's a Honda commercial, and I haven't even got the levels at all or anything.
Gotcha.
It's just kind of the music that they're, they with rock music. But this music has some weird stops in it at a bad place, so I may change it.
Hey, it's Jeff Bolton, and I'm down at DFW Honda in Grapevine. And if you've been waiting for the right deal on a Honda, your wait is over, because DFW Honda's end of the summer clearance sale is on. DFW Honda has made a special deal on some brand new
It's got this weird
non-current
stop
Hondas,
right in
and
the
you
middle
can
of
save
it,
as
right where the disclaimer takes place.
warranty at all thousands below MSRP.
Always wear a helmet, eye protection, and protective clothing. Never use the street as a racetrack. Offers in 1031.17 and subject to change without notice. Neither MSRP nor sales price includes destination charge. See powersports.honda.com for destination charges.
Hit DFWHonda.com to see the complete selection of clearance sale bikes. That's DFWHonda.com.
All right, this is Dan Bradford and our part of our production team, and we had a question about analog and digital, and he's going to answer that one.
Well, first you need a unit that can plug your microphone into it, an analog microphone, analog board, and then send a digital signal to your computer, probably a USB port on your computer. And this is the device to do that right here. This is an Alesis Multimix 4. It uses a standard printer cable, and it goes one side plugs into here, the other side would plug into your computer. And it's great because your computer, it doesn't even need a driver, it just sees it perfectly and says, oh look, there's the Alesis Multimix 4. So then you plug your computer into here, you plug this into your computer, and then you'll need something to record with. And the program that is really good for that is called Audacity. If you'll go to audacityteam.org, this is a really good digital program for recording, and then you'd save it as an MP3 file or a WAV file or any whatever kind of file you happen to be working with. And then there's also this 8-channel board here that allows you to have 4 XLR microphone inputs, and that's called a low Z input. And there's also what you can do, a high Z input as well on these. And this allows you to even plug a guitar or whatever, any kind of musical instrument into this thing, because it has a special channel on it that allows you a line level input. So this is a very versatile board, headphone jack, lots of reverb and effects on it. But the nice thing about it is you got an analog signal into the microphone input or whatever, and then it goes right into your computer with a standard printer cable, and then you record on your computer and save it as an MP3 or a WAV file or any kind of file you want.
Awesome. Thanks, Dan.
My pleasure.
Well, basically, programming a Christian teaching and talk station is it's very different than a music station. You have the same program that airs every single day, but while it's the same program, it's not the same message. But the key there is consistency. So every morning at 7 o'clock, for example, we are a program called Focus on the Family. And every morning when people are going to work, they know at 7 o'clock, I can hear Focus on the Family, whether it's Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, or Friday. That's the program they're going to hear. But it's a different program every single day. And generally, the length of the programs are about 25 minutes. So if you have, in an hour, you have 2 25-minute programs, that gives you an additional 10 minutes per hour to talk about other things that are going on at your radio station, to talk about what's coming up next. If you air commercials, you can air commercials. If you're non-commercial, you can talk about what's going on with your radio station. So the key is consistency. You want to try and keep your programs to the same length, whether that be 25 minutes or 26 minutes. Keep those at the same length and always be on time. That's very important. and make sure that you have the same program on every single day at the same time. It's not always possible, but try and do that as much as you possibly can.
What happens if you go long on a show?
Well, most of the shows we get from us that would sent to us are already at the set length. That's one thing you want to kind of keep an eye on. A lot of times, a program will send you, if they send you a program that's long, you might have to do some editing on that, because if they are contracted for 25 minutes and they send you a 26-minute or a 25-minute, 45-second program, that can really wreak some havoc. And then, so you might have to go back and ask them to do some adjustments, or if they can't do the adjustments, then you'll say that, hey, look, we'll have to do the adjustments. But generally, we get programs far enough in advance to to know if there's going to be a problem or not. And once you kind of go back and tell them that, then they'll say, oh, sorry, or it's usually just a mistake or something. But yeah, we really don't have a lot of problems with that. But if you do let it kind of slide, then they'll start to take advantage of you.
A very special dedication for a very special young man coming up next. Good? And then we'll do spawns, all right? Actually, I don't need you. You're in this.
Okay.
You look fine. .94.9 KLTY, Friday morning. Frank, Starlene, and Hudson in the morning. Hello.
Because see, really, I'm thinking about then.
Right.
Oh, this turkey leg's no good. Then maybe you can, just wait till tomorrow comes. But if I'm like, funnel cake is legit, maybe you want to come check us out at the fair today.
So you're actually doing this as a public service?
I'm here to serve.
Well, the only way we're going to believe that is if you put mustard on that corny dog.
I'm not here to pollute the environment.
Hey, listen, don't forget, be one of the first 75 in line at one of those Fletcher Corny Dogs booth. You get the Corny Dog for free.
Yep.
Hey, all right, this is a secret between us. Don't tell anybody.
Right. It's 8:25. Checking in with Gail Lightfoot. What's up, Gail?
All right, this is Starlene Stringer, 94.9 KL2Y News Director.
Hi.
And one of the questions we had from our friends in Uganda at Glory FM was, how do you gather your news? How do you find your news? What does that look like for you?
Well, you know what? These days there's so many different ways. When I first started here like 20 years ago, don't tell anybody, it was just newspapers. I'd come in and I'd be like 4 or 5 newspapers, but now newspapers are kind of going away here. And so all the news we get's online. So I do look at newspapers online. I pull up the Dallas Morning News and you'll see it here. I also have the Fort Worth newspaper, but then I also have news feeds. So we actually have a news source that delivers news, and they have world news, state news, local news, sports, show prep, funny things, weather, all that stuff right there for you. And in addition to that, we also have all the news stations.
Excuse me, Susan, gotta take these calls. 94.9 KLTY, Frank and Starlene. Morning.
Yes, Frank?
Yes.
Hey, Frank, I'm calling in. I just want to ask, what prompted you to say that there may not be no protest tonight? Why did you predict that?
Oh, you know what? I was just thinking positive, that's all. I mean, there could be. I was just thinking positive.
Oh, Okay. I just wanted to have a conversation about it if you have time. I know you're on the air right now.
Actually, sir, we're taking calls about a young man who just died.
Oh, Mr. Menard?
Yeah.
Okay, well, I don't want to interrupt that. I just wanted to have a conversation.
Okay, well, thanks for calling.
All right, Frank.
94.9 KLTY, Frank, Starlene, and Hudson. Morning.
Good morning. This is Karen, the Uber driver.
Hey, Karen, what's going on?
Well, first of all, I want to say what a beautiful song to play for that young man.
Oh,
It
yeah.
touched my heart.
Oh, yeah.
His daddy requested it.
Yeah.
Last Saturday, or Saturday before, I picked up a lady to take to the gym to exercise.
Yeah.
And she got in the car and she said, "Oh my God, KLTY." So I wanted you to know that people do appreciate that good Christian music.
Well, absolutely. Karen, we just love our Uber and Lyft drivers, especially the ones that have us playing, because you've got a ministry going on right in your car.
Absolutely do.
Thank you, Karen.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Is that it on the calls?
Yeah.
Okay, so in addition to like getting the newspapers and that news source, I check out all the channels too. I watch TV, so I'm always watching the news. It's on a commercial right now, but I see Fox News, NBC News, I see CBS, you name it, we're watching it all. CNN, we see every single news channel. I monitor them all online, and then also here in the studio. So when there's breaking news, I know about it. And then, you know, I just pay attention to whatever's going on in the world and try to, you know, stay abreast of that and make sure that our listeners know everything that's going on too. And that's it. I wish we were there with you guys. Bye.
Starlene, we were talking about the hills and the valleys of life just a moment ago. And we have some dear friends in the Metroplex, in a very low valley. A very special dedication for a very special young man is coming up next. 94.9 KLTY. I'm Frank Reed with Starlene Stringer, here with you in the good times and in the hard times. Starlene has the story.
Well, we had a man call in this morning, a bit heartbroken, Mr. Manara, and he said, my son passed away last night. His name was Matthew Manara, and he was featured in the news last May. And so I started Googling and searching, and I found this story about this young man from Western Hills High School in Fort Worth, who they held a special ceremony for actually in Houston.
Yeah.
And that's because he was receiving cancer treatments there. So his principal and teachers got in their car, they loved on him, they drove down to Houston and said, we're gonna give you your cap and gown.
I remember us talking about that, and I remember the picture.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's beautiful to see him and his family all featured in these photos, but then heartbreaking this morning when we heard the pain of his father calling in to say Matthew had passed away. And he had one special request, Frank. He said, will y'all play a song for my family and for my son, 18-year-old Matthew Menard, and our thoughts and prayers go out to everyone at Western Hills High School in Fort Worth today for your loss.
Mr. Menard, I can't even imagine the pain and the grief that you're going through this morning. However, I know that God has got you, and most importantly, at this very, very moment, God has got your son. You requested this song for your boy, and it's my honor to play it for you. It's Chris Tomlin, just for you, sir, at 94.9 KLTY. Man,
Wow.
can't believe we get through what we do.
I know.
God, 18 years old,
I have,
that's
like,
just terrible.
It's horrible.
It's terrible.
He's like, you know, we prayed. It's like 18 years ago we prayed that God would give us a child, and He gave us our firstborn son. Last night he died. It is,
Everybody, I'm Bonnie Curry, 94.9 KLTY. I have some amazing guests in the studio. Everybody wave. Hello. This is the children's choir from Uganda, part of Parental Care Ministries, and they have come all the way here to sing for you today. And so Faith is my lovely soloist back there, and if you guys would you please sing for us?
All the other gods, they are the works of men, but you are the most high God. There is none like you. All the other gods, all the other gods, they are the works of men, but you are the most high God. There is none like you. All the other gods, all the other gods, they are the works of men, but you are the most high God. There is none like you. Jehovah, you are the most high God. Jehovah, you are the most high God. You are the most high God. You are the most high God. Jehovah, you are the most high God. 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 All the other gods, they are the works of men. Oh, but you are the most high God. There is none like you. All the other gods, all the other gods, they are the works of men, but you are the most high God. There is none like you. Jehovah, you are the most high God.
If you want to find out more about this amazing organization and how to help these kids, it's pcmonline.org. That's pcmonline.org. Feel free to bless them. Feel free to do what you can to support this amazing ministry. We want to say a huge hello to Glory FM. That is their Christian radio station that is there in Uganda, serving and ministering to 5 million plus people. So hello to Glory FM. We love you guys here in Texas. And kids, everybody wave. Say bye. Bye. I'm Bonnie Curry, 94.9 KLTY.
There you go.
Yay! Oh, that was amazing. Oh, you guys did so well. That was beautiful. Thank you so much. So, you guys are here inside of our radio station. Do you guys have any questions for me? Can I help you? Do you have anything that I can answer for you? Yes.
Do you sometimes feel nervous?
Sometimes I do. I do. Not in here. I've been doing this for a really long time. I've been here at KLTY for 22 years. Right? I'm super old. So I've been doing this for so many years that it feels like breathing to me. You know when you do something that you're just very comfortable with? That's how I feel about doing this. But sometimes when I get in front of other people, I get nervous. Funny enough, it's with smaller groups. When I'm in front of a huge audience, I don't get very nervous about it. But when I'm in front of a small group of people and maybe I have to speak, I still get nervous. So yeah, I still do. But you guys didn't get nervous at all. You sang in faith. Beautiful. That was amazing. To be able to sing, just kind of belt it out like that, that was fantastic. That was beautiful. So, does anybody else have any questions? No? Yes?
Do you sometimes be alone, like in the studio?
Yes, a lot actually. Most of my show is live. And so a lot of times I'm just in here by myself and I'll talk to people on the phone. We have this wonderful phone system that allows me to talk to listeners all day. But I'm also the creative director here at the radio station. So I have this wonderful team of people. See big tall Josh right there? That's one of my team members right there. And so we work together to write commercials and do creative. And so I have a lot of people actually coming in and out of the studio all day. So I'm kind of used to visitors and having friends and people, wonderful kids like you come in. That feels very normal to me. So I love having visitors. So it's kind of cool. Yes?
How about when you don't have visitors? Do you feel free to talk alone with no answers, like the reply?
Do. I can talk to a wall. And that is the truth. I really can. I've never had any problems talking. And I talk to myself a lot. And so I just like to talk out loud. It's one of those things where I don't feel like I'm talking to myself because I know there's a lot of people listening. And so I'm talking to them. I'm just trying to share my heart. And so even though I'm alone in here, I know that there's thousands and thousands of people listening. And so to me, I'm not alone. I'm joined by a lot of people, a lot of ears that are kind of listening too. So that's very cool. It's a very big blessing. Yes?
Are these mics work the same or they are?
I know what you're asking me. So yes, all of these mics are wired into my board, and so a lot of times when we have guests in studio, we have all the mics set up to where people can sit down in front of them and have conversations. And so let's say we have a band or a group of people like yourself where we can actually have every person having a microphone that can talk and feed, back to me. So my mic is always kind of hot. And by that I mean it's usually going to be recording me, whatever I'm doing. But all of these mics are controlled. So if we wanted to, and I wanted to turn on the mic, I could say, so that microphone was live, so I'm glad nobody yelled at me. So so the mics are live. And if you didn't get a chance to watch it, please do. Facebook Live, we just posted the amazing kids that are here all the way from Uganda. They are singing. It is a moment of praise that will bless your day. So follow it, find it, watch it. It's worth your time. Okay, so that's literally, thank you guys for being so quiet. So that's actually really funny. There are days where I'm really very tired, but today was a good moment because every time I kind of feel that way, I get an opportunity to talk to somebody. And a woman called me today and I got to pray with her. She was really struggling with some things in her life right now. And I was able to talk to her, and I may never meet her. I may never get to hug her or see her, but I was able to talk with her and to share with her and to pray with her. And there was a man who talked to me today and told me that he had this amazing praise report because his daughter, who had been using drugs for a while, has given her life to God. And she is 2 weeks in recovery and is making her way in life, and she's coming back home to him. So that was amazing. So even when I get tired, I have these really awesome moments where I get to talk to people, and you know how God just kind of fills you back up? That's kind of what my job is a lot of times I get filled back up because I get to listen to these songs and I get to hear wonderful moments. And honestly, I get to be in a studio with amazing kids like you. They're so beautiful and you sing so beautifully. And so this is the best part of my day today, is getting to spend some time with you guys, because honestly, I don't get a privilege like this too terribly often, that a beautiful choir of wonderful kids comes in and blesses me and sings live to me. This is the best part of my day, so I'm not tired at all. I feel very happy.
Do you have to be here every day?
I do. Hang on just a second, guys.
94.9.
So that's me actually kind of doing my show right now. Yes, I do have to be here every day, weekdays, from 10 to 2, and then I go and mess with my friend Josh, and we work together on the commercials and other things like that. And then I'm also the host of our evening show from 7 to midnight, but that's pre-recorded, so I don't have to be here for it. It's already pre-taped. So I spend a lot of time here. I really do. So, yes.
Like, in our radio, not there, we like share a microphone.
Yes.
If I'm this, we are like 3
Yes.
people, and do you like share a microphone?
We do, and we can. In fact, I'll tell you what. Here, let's do this. Here, you three. Okay, one more time. Just say hello.
Hello.
Excellent. Okay. So I can actually play that back and say, okay, here's everybody here. So that's you. So I can have multiple people on the microphones, and as long as everybody's kind of close to it, it'll actually play back. This was us just now.
There is none like you. All the other guys. All the other guys.
So that's all of you together. So all the mics work together, and we can actually record everybody. So you guys did such a good job on that. Do you have any